So, you're here because you want to know why you should bother reading. Don't worry, in this video I'll tell you why. Yep, I do know we're living in a world in which artificial intelligence can give you pretty much everything you want to know at the click of a button. All the world's information is at your fingertips. So why bother reading when you can just get a computer to do everything you need for you? Got a homework on some dull story as an assignment from your English teacher? Just get a bot to write your essay for you, while you can spend your time perfecting your skills on GotU or checking out the latest cat memes on TikTok. Sure, go ahead. But before you do, take a few moments to realise what you're missing every time you pick up the controller or your phone. Your attention is finite. Your day is finite. You only have so much attention you can give before your head. When you choose to start scrolling or gaming, you can't simultaneously pick up a good book to read. Economists call it the opportunity cost. Every time you make a decision, that is at the cost of all the other decisions you could have made at that moment. I'm here to tell you why you shouldn't waste the opportunity to read, why you should pick up the book first. Let's take that artificial intelligence we were talking about before. Pretty soon it'll be able to do most of the things we need. It'll be able to solve complex maths problems, make decisions during a brain surgery. It may even be able to help us out in a diplomatic crisis. Do you know how it does all this? Generative AI such as ChatGPT takes all the words it is fed and turns them into numbers called tokens. It then learns which tokens are likely to occur near which other tokens, and it learns how to make predictions based on that likelihood. You get the idea. Basically, generative AI has a superhuman ability to make predictions. It's a maths machine! You think you're taking maths at university? Good luck. You are up against those machines. What about science? Who needs scientists when programmers will be able to... Oh, programming. There's a good career. Well, yeah, you put in a few lines of code and then you'll activate your Frankenstein monster, which will lurch to life and set off down its own programming path. No, forget those degrees. You know what's going to differentiate us from the machines? Those things that make us uniquely human. Those things a large language generative AI model can't do when it takes words and turns them into tokens and starts making its predictions. I'm talking about our human abilities to feel, to empathise, to communicate, to make moral decisions based not on cold reason, but on compassion and a love for our world and our species. I'm also talking about critical thinking skills, being able to recognise when propaganda is attempting to brainwash you, or when someone is persuading with empty words. The most powerful people of the future will have these critical thinking skills in abundance. They'll be the ones employing the people who run the AIs. They'll be the ones telling the AIs what to think when we're trying to hold the world back from the brink of nuclear destruction. Compassion, empathy, communication, critical thinking. Those today are called soft skills, but tomorrow they're going to be the hard skills. And they're skills that can be developed. Do you know how? When we read, and I'm talking about stories here, fiction, we step into the world of the characters. We feel what they feel. That has been scientifically proven to make us more empathetic. And that's important because empathetic people perform better in their careers. They're more productive and they're more creative. And that is a key reason why you should be reading. There's one catch though. You can only develop your empathy by reading like this if you're reading a book where you really care about the characters. You want them to do well. If you don't feel that, then you're not going to get these benefits I'm talking about. And that's something you can tell any adult who forces you to read a book that you don't really want to read. Find a book that grabs you. Find a book that makes you care. And then the magic happens. Okay, you might be saying, I understand you, but I can just develop my empathy skills by watching my favourite Netflix series. I care about those characters. I can laugh with them, I can cry with them, I can develop my empathy skills on the way without having to look at dull words on a page. No, I can do it by looking at my beautiful screen. I see I'm dealing with someone who's already got some good critical thinking skills already. Good for you. You're absolutely right. You can develop your empathy skills by watching your favourite series on a screen. But that's why I'm going to tell you the second reason why you should read a book. Just 15 minutes reading per day leads to massive gains in vocabulary. Students who spend their adolescence reading for over 30 minutes per day get to the end of school and have encountered 13.7 million words. Kids who read less than 15 minutes per day encounter just 1.5 million words. That's a difference of 12 million words. So what? So, the more words you know, the more intelligent you become, because vocabulary is connected to intelligence. And the more intelligent you become, because intelligence isn't fixed, by the way, intelligence grows as you nurture it. The more intelligent you become, the more likely it is that you will be able to control your world and not be controlled by it. Because intelligent people get better careers, they become more powerful, they become more rich. And I've got news for you if you come from a family with limited money. When it comes to doing well and reading tests at school and developing your intelligence in that way, it doesn't matter what kind of background you come from. What's much more important is how often and how much you're reading. You still just want to do well in maths and science and forget the storybooks, eh? Well, let me tell you the thing that's really going to blow your mind. Kids who read a lot do better in maths and science too. That's because when you expand your vocabulary, you understand the questions you're being asked in your maths and your science tests much more than if you don't expand your vocabulary. And you can also understand the explanations your maths and science teachers are giving in your classes as well. Makes sense, doesn't it? Meanwhile, those couch potatoes watching all those Netflix series, yeah, you're developing your empathy skills and that's a good thing, but you're not expanding your vocabulary in the same way. In fact, there's plenty of evidence to say that when you watch more than an hour of television per day, your school grades will suffer, particularly when the content of what you're watching is... Let me put it another way. Switch off your screens, pick up a book, and change your life. I'm not messing with you here. You want to know what the world's leaders study at university? 44% study social science subjects such as economics, international relations, psychology, law, communications. Don't be fooled by the word science in social sciences. The science bit means you do come up with hypotheses and then you test them to see if you're right or wrong. But you're not sitting around all day doing complex maths. These are subjects where you read a lot, you expand your vocabulary, you develop your critical thinking skills. Barack Obama studied political science with a specialty in international relations and in English literature. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, studied economics before medicine. Emma Watson, the famous actress and activist, studied English literature. Christopher Nolan, the revered film director, also studied English literature. Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube for the last decade, studied history and literature. Oprah Winfrey, famed talk show host and frequently cited as one of the most influential people in the world, studied communication. Elon Musk, founder of Tesla, studied physics and economics. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook founder, studied computer science and psychology. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, studied political science and economics. You get the idea. These guys were reading books. They've all got a reading habit. If you don't believe me, just look it up. Readers make leaders. I know, but I couldn't resist it. I'm not telling you to go out there right now and start reading tricky history or business books. That can come later, unless you really want to read them. For now, Just find a story that grabs you, something you don't want to put down, and get reading. And when you've finished, find another one. Pester your parents for books. Go to your local library. Get reading. I may have convinced you that reading is a good thing, but you may be feeling a little bit miserable right now because you might be sitting there thinking, all right, I understand. But it's all just a big bunch of black ink on a page. Books are terrifying. And when you sit down to read, you don't get any of the amazing benefits I'm talking about because you're simply struggling to understand the words on the page. Don't worry, that's what I'm here for. I'll teach you to love reading and to love the books you're reading. You don't have to be that kid in the class who's always got their nose buried in a book. Who wants to be that kid anyway? But you can become a great reader. So if you like what you're hearing, click like, subscribe to the channel, and let's watch the next video immediately so that we can learn how to start developing good reading habits and become a great reader.